He's popular, look at that.
That was fantastic. You lower everything except your standards. This is
Like what you see in live.
Let me get my breath. Let me get my breath. I love hearing Jim Henson's voice. I mean, Jim Henson / Kermit is just an instant gratitude moment for me, and I'm reminded of how grateful I am for the people that record our songs, the people that actually hear them. God bless the people, and the frogs and the robots and whoever I can line up to, because there's a lot of songs that are sitting in a drawer somewhere that never heard the light of day. But I am Paul Williams, and I am a songwriter. I am so proud to be here and to welcome you all to the ASCAP 2024 membership meeting. It's great to see all of you and to feel your creative energy. That's the whole thing about being a songwriter, is you can feel other people because you sit in a room with them and stare at each other and go, well, you're going to have an idea, for God's sake. And then they come up with something that's wonderful that changes everything. It's been a difficult year for so many people around the globe, yet being here in this room with you,
co-writing their massive single Jump. How many of you remember that?
I know who.
And founding his record label So Deaf.
Dead Jen.
He went on to produce Mariah Carey's We Belong Together, which was named Billboard's Song of the Decade 2000s. So JD, you have a long and storied career in this industry. Some people may not know that you got your start as a dancer for the hip hop group Quincy.
I think that's what it did. It allowed me, it put me into places. Right, as a dancer, you go to every club, you go on to every little disco or whatever's happening, talent shows. You're just at everything, and you just create this appetite.
Thank you. So you have a successful track record in development. And also, what are your thoughts on the state of artist development today?
Hey,
That's a good question.
well, there's no artist development today. And what I look for artists that are hungry, and that show me that hunger without telling me they're hungry. Because I meet people every time I go outside and tell me I got a tape, my rap. Cool. But I can watch you walk away from me and I don't see. It's a hunger that I can tell, I can see that's different. And a lot of times these artists that I like, they're not really persistent as far as trying to get my attention. They show me something, whether it is from a distance without even knowing that they're showing it to me, and then it's my job to go to them. Very rarely, with Anthony Hamilton, it was like he was singing here in New York at the Grammy brunch or something like that, and my dad was at the brunch, and he was like, "This guy, you should hear this guy sing." And I was like, "What?" I was in my office here at ASCAP, and I was like, I hear guys sing every day. What are you talking about? And he was like, no, you should really hear this dude sing. And he played me something over the phone. I'm like, where is he right there? He's like, yeah. So he came, and it was like, that's like a year. It's not even like a, you know what I mean? It wasn't like something I was actually like chasing. It just happened. And it was like, you see it, or somebody tells you, check it out. Same thing with the Brat. Chris Cross told me about the Brat. I never really was like into female rappers. And he was like, yo, you should check her out. And I'm like, no, I don't want a female rapper. And they was like, you should check her out. And I'm like, no. And after that, we did this over and over again. I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna check out. And I checked out, and she could have reached out to me. She could have been like trying to get my number and all those things, but she wasn't. That wasn't the page that she was on. She was just determined to perform in front of people, and if you saw the talent at that particular point in time, then that's what happened. And once I checked her out, that's what it was. I brought her to Atlanta, and she was performing in my car when I wasn't even in there. So she wasn't doing it for me. She was just doing it on her own. And you leave somebody in your car and you go away, and you come out there and they're rapping to themselves. You're like, what's going on? Like, who are you doing this for? Right? And they're doing it at a not writing level. They're doing it at a performance level. And it's just like,
So there's an interesting story behind Confessions, y'all. When it comes to your creative process, right, JD, there's a story behind this. I read in an interview that Confessions Part 2, which by the way was named the greatest R&B song of the 21st century by Rolling Stone. So I read that it took you about an hour to write, and that you didn't actually write down the lyrics to that song.
yeah.
Tell us about it.
When I did Money in the Thing with Jay-Z, he came to my house and I played him the beat, and I never saw him write lyrics. And I'm like, what's happening right now? And I never saw nobody even do this before, so it was like, I actually thought we was getting ready to have a bad session. Cause I'm like, oh damn, he don't like the beat, he not even trying to. He didn't even ask me for a pad or nothing. So I'm like, this is not going to end well. And then next thing he said, let's go. And I'm like, go where? Showed me to the booth. And he went in the booth and he had his verse. And I was just like, what? And when he did that, and when you say it, it seems like the most incredible talent that one person could possibly have. But I had to study how it's not one of the most incredible talents that one person can have. It's just about the liking that we have inside of us. And we do this with other songs that we don't even see the lyrics of, right? So you know somebody else's song that you've heard it on the radio a bunch of times, you've never seen the lyric sheet. You probably in the car, you know all the lyrics. Some of y'all know, but some of you know. And once you start remembering that, I mean, once I started studying, because he didn't tell me this, I just figured it out. But I had also done it before. When I wrote the Crisscross records, my mindset was if I make music that they like, they're gonna perform it at a high level, right? So I had already done the exercise, but I never realized that I had did it before. So when I saw him do it, I said, okay. And at first I felt like this was gonna be the hardest thing in the world. But then I started saying, if I write something that I like, I'm not gonna forget it.
Right.
Right? So that's the key to it. If you write something that you like, you're not gonna forget it. If you say something that you like, you're not gonna forget it, right? That's just life. Everybody does this. If you keep saying it over and over again, you're never gonna forget it. And with Confession, I caught writer's block. So I'm sitting in the studio, I'm like, I'm getting ready to leave. And I got in the car, I took the music and I got in the car and I was driving in the car. And as I was listening to the music, I just started saying words. And I was singing melodies and doing things. And then I just started looking at places in LA, and I just started using those pieces to make a verse. Now, I didn't know if people was gonna like it or if Usher was gonna like it or not either. But this is what was happening. And then I was like, I should, and I said this to myself, I said, maybe I should do like Kaiser Soze. Anybody familiar with Kaiser Soze? All right, so I was saying like, let me try to write a song like Kaiser Soze. Everything I see, I'm gonna put it in the song. So that's why the line starts off. Every time I was in LA, I was with my ex-girlfriend because I was in LA. And then I was driving down Beverly, a third of one of them streets, and you stop at the light. And I was hand in hand in Beverly, so I'm like, damn. And I'm just taking these words and putting it into, and I'm continuing the story. I'm just writing. And I'm actually doing this not even thinking that, like I said, it's not even feeling like a song. It just feels like I'm just in the car doing something. But I couldn't forget it. So I just kept saying. So the next day, I'm like, I'm gonna go to the studio. I'm gonna say this, Usher don't like it. So but I like it, and I'm saying what I'm saying. So I just kept doing it, and that's how it came out.
There's an interesting story behind you writing and producing that song. You encouraged Mariah to add something to take it to the next level. Can you talk more about that and also give us your thoughts on what makes a good producer?
Yeah, this was like the difficult things I had to go through as a producer and songwriter, because it's like you have to. I feel like I'm the producer that has to keep it real with the artist at some point to get to where I want to go. And previously, Mariah was doing this airy singing, and I was like, you know, and I get it. I understand that artists don't want to continue to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I get that. But for this song, I just was like, listen, you gotta hit the note. Like, you're not, you know, if the song is great, but you gotta end the song with a Mariah Carey ending to take it over the top. And it's crazy because we finished the song and she didn't have that in there, and LA was like, it don't seem done yet. And I'm like, what? And it was just that piece, like that's one piece. And when he told me that, that was my confirmation. He was like, I told you. You gotta hit this note. And it's, by the way, it's Mariah Carey. Telling her to hit a note means nothing, but she gets out of that mode sometimes and just wanna be a rapper or whatever.
Oh.
So I mean, that was one of the things, and I always was scared to write for Mariah because she's one of the greatest songwriters in the world, right? So I'm like, you don't really need me to write the song. I can make the music, but you don't actually need me to write the song. So we argued about writing a part of this song, and we was all tired. It was like 7 a.m. in the morning. She was about to leave, come back here to New York. And this one little piece of the song was not finished. And she was, I guess she was having a writing block. Maybe she was just like stalling me out to make me write it. And she was just sitting there and we was going back. She was like, write it. I'm like, no. I'm not doing it. because I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, you fucked up, right? So, so I just started saying, I mean, this is how I write. I just write. And whatever's happening, I just start saying things in the studio. I don't believe that people are going to use it never, right? I just think that this just sounds good to me at the time, right? So the beat is playing, she's looking at me, I'm saying, I'm not gonna do this. And then I just start saying, it's going on, I'm on element, on thing, trying to figure out what the hell I'm with. I start saying it. And she's like, that's it. I'm like, no, that's not it. Because I'm like, because she don't sing like that. That's more of a Usher flow, right? And so I'm like, no, because that sounds like Usher would do it. And she was like, yeah, that's it. Let's do that. And I'm like, okay, but are you gonna do this? And she's like, I'm gonna do it just like you. And I'm like, no, right? And she left and the part was still open. But she made me go do the demo. And if y'all know me and Mariah's relationship, Can I Get Your Number? I'm singing the hook on Can I Get Your Number because she didn't want to take me off and she didn't want to do it. So I'm like, please don't fuck this song up and leave me in that part of the song. I'm like, no, man, that's gonna seem crazy, right? So I kept thinking that that's what she was gonna do, and sure enough, she stuck to it and she did the note, and she took my part and put it in the song, and the rest is history.
Go Mariah.
As someone well respected in the industry, what business skills sets have you had to acquire to ensure the success of the records you write and produce? For example, a lot of talent stays solely in the creative space, but may not know enough about the business of music, or may not want to get involved, or is truly understanding the business side of things as well.
Well, I have a motto with myself. I'm not in the music business. I'm in the record business. I make records. That's it. People that's in the music business, they copy what other people in the music business is doing, and they don't end up making records. That's why the music business is downsizing, because there's not enough records being made. It's too many employees doing nothing. And to me, that's what I try to tell writers, because my life is interesting as a writer because I started so young. Like when I made Chris Cross album, I was 17 years old, right? And at 17 in Atlanta, I didn't know nobody. I didn't know no engineers. I wasn't signed to ASCAP. Or maybe I was. Yeah, I was when I put out 6 on Little Prior. So I was, but I still was like a kid that nobody was like, I didn't have conversation with people, let me just say that. I had no conversation with people. So I was just stuck in my house in Atlanta. And I started writing songs because if I make a beat, I didn't have no writers. There wasn't no writers. I didn't know like call like, oh, let me call you over and come write a song. You don't have that, so you just sit there and you start writing songs. And you get into a space of just like songwriting. Like I think everybody is a songwriter, right? I feel like if you get in that space and you write songs and this is what you really do, it's important that you stick to that, right? You stick to writing songs and continue to write songs and always continue to write songs. And that's my advice to somebody is that, well, second part of my advice. The second part of my advice is that in music, me personally, I don't understand why people always believe that the fans want to hear you do something different, right? If you go to a restaurant that you love and you've been going there for 5 years, 6 years, and they change the chef, what you gonna do? You're gonna leave. That's how music is. Artists blow up, they have 10, 30, how many albums they have, and then all of a sudden they want to change their sound. They want to do something different. I get it, I understand. But it's the same as food, right? To me, McDonald's, they try to copy their whole menu so that you would never leave their place and you would come back all the time. I'm vegan, I don't know what I'm talking about McDonald's, but
You hungry?
you get my drift. It's to me, people don't pay attention to the actual art of making music and the actual art of writing songs. It's definitely an art to it, right? It's definitely a find a hook that people can sing. Find a nice melody for the verse. Put different type of sounds in the song that catch people's ear. These are things that you should say when you're in the studio writing a song or you write a song, period. Because and once you catch, it's not to duplicate what you did, but it's to remember how you got to that place and try to do something that resembles you getting to the place of that other hit record. And that's my advice for you guys. You have to have, like I said, I was a kid, I started off in here, so to have people that actually feel like your family, that actually talk to you, that actually invite you to things like this, and give you opportunity to meet other writers and be around people. Like I said, I was one that didn't get the opportunity to do that, right? So, if you get the opportunity to do these things and meet people, you should feel very, very privileged.
Songs made for me, which is dominating on social media right now. Dominating. You've witnessed the music industry's evolution, shifting from physical to digital consumption. How have you managed to remain relevant while staying authentic?
Like I said, I won't change what I started doing once I realized that you liked it. You know, it's just like Valentine's Day. Like, you know, if you show up without roses, it's the same thing. You put that same mentality into music. You know, like if you take this song, the Money Long record, I was watching TikTok in the studio. This is a true story. I was in the studio looking at TikTok on my phone, and I saw this Yeet Mariah Carey mashup, and I saw it one time, I saw it again, then I started seeing it multiple times. I'm like, oh, this is a thing. And I saw these young kids, nobody older than 20 maybe, dancing like this was the newest song they ever heard in their life. And I was like, you know what's interesting to me is that people in the music industry, or the music business, they believe that, or they tell you that young kids want the new shit. I don't believe that. I think young kids want whatever sounds good.
That's right.
So I'm looking at this and I realized that at first I thought they tracked my Mariah beat out. I was like, oh, maybe they. Now listen again. I'm like, this is the same drums I used. It's the same beat. They just took Mariah off and put Yeet on here. Like, it's nothing different. And these kids are acting like this is the freshest shit they ever heard in their life. Now, I didn't know that Money Long was gonna call me right after this, but this was actually my practice of what was happening. And then I get a call from Money Long saying, we're gonna put out the single that we did. And I said, well, wait, let me do something to the beat. Because I did this song in LA, but it didn't bounce the way y'all hear it now. And me watching TikTok and seeing the way the kids was dancing to the Mariah record, I said, oh, so if I take my bounce that's in the Mariah record, I put it in this Money Long record, the same thing should possibly happen. And here we go.
All right, I have a trillion more questions.
Don't we all, 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 don't we all hang on by the skin of our fingers, pray when we don't think anybody's listening. Don't we all, don't we all, don't we all, don't we all. And when the day comes, you got everything your heart's been feeling pain for. Just promise you won't forget how hard the way was. 'Cause don't we all, 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 don't we all hang on by the skin of our fingers, pray when we don't think anybody's listening. Don't we all, 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 say don't we all, say don't we all, say don't we all, say don't we find joy in my circumstances, find peace in the pain, 'cause I know I'm not the only one. Show me how to sing